So where are we now? This is the page for the Analytics Become an Expert. I'm going to send this out in the chat to everybody right now, just so everybody has it. And we are now in session 4. So just to see where we are, we began with a general overview and introduction. Then we discussed the physical inventory and fulfillment. Then last week we discussed electronic inventory and the acquisitions. All of the recordings, as you can see here, are linked. So you can see the recording of each session, either the session that you attended or a different session. And today we're on creating and managing dashboards in analytics. Everything that I'm going to be showing now is also in the presentations here. This is a page with information about the dashboards, how to edit and change a default dashboard, how to create a new dashboard, how to create a dashboard prompt, how to change the list of possible values in the dashboard prompt. So all of these you can also see here. I will send this out in the chat now as well. So all of the information everyone has, and we are ready to begin. So let's begin with creating a brand new dashboard from scratch. And creating the brand new dashboard from scratch, first we're going to need to create some reports. Now, we're not going to focus on the creation of reports, how to create reports. We're going to be focusing on how to put those reports in a dashboard, in different tabs of a dashboard, and how to use a prompt for those reports. So we will discuss briefly the actual creation of the reports, but that's not our focus. So let's go into analytics. We'll go analytics and access analytics. And let's create at least 3 more or less basic reports, because again, our focus is on the dashboards and not necessarily on the reports. So let's start with a new analysis in the fulfillment subject area. And let's include, for example, the loan date year, because later we're going to take at least one of the fields we have here and hook it up to a prompt. So we'll be able to do that, for example, by the loan year. We could also do that, for example, by the item location at the time of loan. So let's put that in as well. We'll say library name, and let's get the number of loans. Let's get number of loans entirely, in-house and not in-house. Now, when we save these reports, we're going to want to put them in an organized structure where we have the reports, the dashboards, and the prompts. So let's say save as. We could actually do save too, because it hasn't yet been saved. And I'm going to create a folder right under Alma University. Alma University is the name of my institution. And I'll make a folder here, and I'll call this dashboards. Let's call it dashboards session 2023-03-07, the date. Now, under this folder, we will eventually have a folder called dashboards, a folder called reports, and a folder called prompts. So let's put this one under reports. Oh, I didn't want to do it like that. I called it reports by accident, but that's all right. We can see how to fix that. We'll go back into catalog. Here we are. We actually want here a folder called reports. So up on the top left here, I'll say new folder. The folder will be called reports. I got to rename this one first. Okay. So let's rename this more. Rename. This is loans by year and library. Okay, now top left, we'll create that new folder, reports, and we'll move this into the reports. So now we have a folder under Dashboard Session 2023-03-07, a folder called Reports, and we have Loans by Year and Library. So we have our first sample report, which will eventually be in the dashboard. Let's make another one. Create analysis. Now, they don't all need to be in the same subject area. However, typically the purpose of a dashboard is to aggregate several reports, all of the same theme or topic. For example, in our case, fulfillment. So let's make another one here. We'll say fulfillment. And let's say we want the loan date to appear. And let's say we want loans to be active. Active means they have not yet been returned. So that is going to be loan status. And we'll filter that loan status by active. So now we have active loans. And let's say we want these to be overdue. We want overdue loans. Let's also put here the loan year, just so all of our reports will have that loan year in it, in case we want to later use that as an example of a prompt. Let's also put in the library here, the item location at time of loan, library name. And now we want, let's go take a look at it first of all. Now we want only the overdue ones. So one way to get the overdue ones is say loan date is earlier than today. There's also a field here, I'm going to say days. Loan days, and let's say return days. So they're all 0. Some of them are minus. Let's say we want the loan date earlier than today. So one way to do that is to say filter and say loan date is less than or equal to. We could hard code today's date, but another way, a better way, would be to convert this filter to SQL. And here, if we write current date, then it's going to be all loans where the loan date, or actually we want the return date to be earlier than today. They'll all be loan dates earlier than today. So let's get let's say the due date. Due date. We'll say, these, by the way, are 0 because they haven't yet been returned. So we'll say the due date filter is less than or equal to. Again, we could say today, or we could say convert this to SQL, and instead of an actual date, we can say current date. Okay, let's see what we've got now here. Great. We don't need to display the loan status because they're all active. We filtered by it. So we'll say loan status, we'll leave the filter, but we'll get rid of the loan status. Let's save this now in case something happens. So this will be overdue loans by year and library. Let's see what else we want to put in here, just to make it a nicer report. We probably want the barcode. We probably want the title. We might want the patron, but not necessary. And let's say we'll go to bibliographic details. We'll get the title. And let's get the barcode in there as well, something unique per item. Loan details, let's take it from the loan details. Okay, so now we've got a report of all overdue items. If we take this due date, I'm going to sort it descending for a moment just to see that they're all before today. Earlier, I said earlier or equal to the current date. So we actually want earlier than the current date. So I'm going to go back to the criteria. Everyone can see I have ones with today, 3/7. So I'm going to say in this filter, instead of less than or equal to the current date, just less than. Okay, and that should suffice for us now. We could put in here, by the way, how many days it's overdue. We could say the current date minus the due date. Let's see if we can do that. So I will put in again the due date and say edit formula. And let's say, and if this doesn't work, we have a method of getting the time, calculating the time. So I'm going to say overdue days. Overdue days. And I want to see here. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay. So first of all, let's make sure. Okay. So we no longer have 3/7/2023, today's date, because we changed it from less than or equal to today to just less than today. And we can see this is correct. It's due the 3rd. Today is the 7th. That's 4 days. Here it was due February 20th. Today is the 7th. There are 28 days this year in February. That's 8 and 7 is 15. Okay, so everything is correct here. So now we have overdue loans by year in library. Let's get rid of this sort, or we can put it back to ascending, or we can come to the criteria and let's just say sort, clear all sorts and all columns. Okay, so now we have 2 reports. We have overdue loans by year in library, and then we have loans by year in library. Let's actually call this number of loans by year in library. So we'll rename, and this is number of loans. Let's make one more report. Anybody have a suggestion of a report they'd like to make in here? And send it in the chat. Anyone have a suggested fulfillment report? Let's say create analysis, fulfillment. You can still send in the chat a suggested report, just so we have at least 3 reports so we can make our dashboard. Let's say we want all of those with call number up. Open fines. Well, that would be the fines and fees. You know, let's do that. We could do fines and fees. It's a separate subject area, but we don't have to have all of the reports be in the same subject area. Typically they are, but okay, let's do that. So we'll say create analysis and we'll go to fines and fees. And let's say we want the remaining amount. Let's say we want let's put in the ID. It's nice to have the ID in a lot of the reports, or something unique so that we always make sure we have one line. Let's get the type in there. And let's get, that should be enough. Let's just see if we've got anything about the status. Fine fee status, great. So let's say filter active. Okay. And so this is all active fines and fees. We don't need to display that. First of all, I'm going to save this. Well, let's just add a few more. Let's also put the user details in here. This is all my demo environment, so we're not showing any private information. All of these demos are not real data. Let's put in the primary identifier there. And just because I might have some weird stuff here, I'm going to say is not null on the first name, not null on the last name. Okay, so now we have fines and fees, active fines and fees. Let's see if there's anything else you want to add in here. Let's put in the library here also. Owning library name. Okay. So we're good as far as I can see. Let's take a look. Great. It looks like, okay, these are, okay, we have libraries here, main library, resource sharing. Most of them are on the institution level. And we're good here. Okay, so I will save this. We'll call this active fines and fees by year in library. I'm going to add the year now. Okay, let's put in the creation date year. Okay. Now, somebody asked if we got a lot of really old ones. I think I'm going to filter out the really, really old ones. Let's say 2000, let's say is greater than 2020. Creation year filter is greater than or equal to 2020. Okay. Great. Okay, just so we don't have a super huge one. And that's it. Save. Okay. Somebody asked, by the way, if I could send out the calculation here for the overdue days. Let me make sure that's what the person asked. I'm going into the chat. Can you share the SQL to calculate the overdue days again, please? Yes. So what we did here is we said due date minus current date. Excuse me, the opposite, current date minus due date. So we went into the edit formula and just put in this, and I'll send that in the chat. By the way, in this same page, where the dashboards are, there's also how to perform a mathematical operation in 2 columns in an analytics report. So there's more information there. I'll send out the link to this. So you've got it there as well. Okay. And let me see if there's anything else that came in the chat. Nope, I don't see anything else in the chat, but feel free to continue the questions. All right, so now we got 3 reports. We got enough already to put into a dashboard. Now, let's go into the catalog here. And we want to have those 3 folders that we talked about, a folder called catalog, a folder called reports, and a folder called prompts. It's really not mandatory to do that, but it's definitely recommended to keep things orderly. So we already have the reports. I'm going to go up 1 level here and up another level, actually. So here's our main folder. And in addition to this reports, I'm going to, on the top left, click New and Folder. And we'll call our new folder Dashboards in plural. We'll see why we're calling it in plural later. And then we'll make another one called Prompts. New folder, Prompts. Okay. Now, when we create the dashboard now, we're going to save it here. And I'm already going to state that we're going to get not an error message, but a warning that's going to state something to the effect of, are you sure you want to create the dashboard in that folder? It will not be accessible from your homepage. And the reason we're going to get that warning is because there's a built-in methodology in what we're using here, which is the Oracle Business Intelligence, or OBI, where they have their own method of creating dashboards. We, Ex Libris, have integrated the dashboard creation into Alma so it can be part of what we call the analytics objects, the dashboards that you can access from inside Alma. So it's going to give us that message. The message is fine. It's not an error. And we're going to save it right here in what we just created. So to create the dashboard, we say create dashboard. Again, create dashboard. And let's call it, for example, the fulfillment and fines and fees dashboard. So we'll call it the fulfillment and fines and fees dashboard. Okay, everything is spelled properly. Now for the location. We're going to go choose that folder. It's giving me by default a different one called Demo Alma University, which is my institution, and dashboards. So let's choose a different one. Browse catalog. She seems to be a little slow today. I'm just going to do a physical title search here just to keep everything alive. Okay. So we want to put this in, we made it under Alma University reports. Here it is, dashboard session 2023-0307. So we'll open that up. And we're going to put it here under dashboards. Okay, so we're saving it under the folder that we made, dashboard session 2023-0307, and then the subfolder dashboards. And okay. Now that's the message I was talking about. It's not going to appear in this default dashboards menu, which is part of the OBI. That's fine. Now, if I click OK and I have add content now, then we can already start editing the dashboard. But I don't want to do add content now. I want first to show where it is and how we can start editing it. So I'll say add content later. Okay, so now what do we have in sum? We have the main folder that we created a little while ago called Dashboard Session 2023-0307. 3 subfolders, reports, dashboards, and prompts. Under the reports, we have 3 pretty basic reports that we want to show in the dashboard. Then we have a folder called dashboards with the new dashboard we made with nothing in it. And now we're going to start editing this dashboard and add those reports to it. Before that, let's take a look at the beginning of this presentation just to review what we did and make sure we got everything covered. So We stated the whole purpose of a dashboard. It brings things with a common theme, common topic all together, so the end user doesn't need to start opening, in this case, 3 different reports. He or she can just go to the dashboard and switch tabs. Also, we can make a prompt which will work on multiple tabs. We'll talk later about the prompt. We're going to do it. We said we have 3 folders: dashboards, prompts, and reports. We created those 3 folders. In the example here, there's different reports, but we created 3 reports in order to put them in there. And those are the 3 reports from this presentation. And we're going to create the dashboard. So we went to create in dashboard and we created it. We gave it a name, we gave it a location, and we said we're going to add the content later. Now we're going to edit the dashboard. Okay, let's go. So we'll click edit. And by default, it starts with a tab called page 1. Later, we'll rename it. We'll see how to rename it, but right now it's called page 1. And now we're going to put content into the dashboard here. So we're going to drag the content in from the bottom of the left navigation pane. I'm going to drag this up a tad where it says catalog, just so we got some more room to play. I'm also going to drag this to the right just so we got a little more room to play. Okay, now we can start navigating to the reports we just made. So we saved them under the name of my institution, Demo Alma University. And under there, we have the dashboard session 2023-03-07. Then we have the reports. We can see now why it's nice to have this organized hierarchy here. Now I can quickly and easily find the reports. Let's start with number of loans by year in library. So I'm just going to drop it right in. So that's the first one in the dashboard. Before I create a new tab, I should save it. But if I was to create another tab now, this one here, if I were a page, excuse me, not a tab, it's going to ask me if I want to save. So I'm going to call the next one overdue loans, because that's going to be the next one we're going to add in. Overdue loans. Okay. Okay, that's the way we asked. So I could have saved in advance, but I wanted to show you that it would ask me anyway. So now I have a page here called overdue loans. And now we'll drag in that overdue loans into here. This time we'll save in advance. Now we'll add these active fines and fees to the next tab. So we're going to create another page. We've got this one here, this icon here, add a dashboard page, add page. And this we'll call active fines and fees. Okay, somebody asked about the subpage. Let's wait about the subpage, because I want to make sure we cover the bases here. Active fines and fees, I'm going to drag that in. And now we have it all done. However, let's rename this page 1. So let's switch to page 1 just to remind ourselves what's in there. So we have their number of loans. So I assume we want to call it, let's call it number of loans, because then we have overdue loans, active fines, and fees. So to rename this, we go to the dashboard properties. So under the tools, we have dashboard properties. And here's the page 1. And then there's a little icon here called rename. So we'll rename this to number of loans. Okay, great. And okay. So now we have the dashboard. Let's go back to the catalog. And let's see what happens. I'm going to click open on this. I can run it from here. Open. And we have our first tab. Then we have our second tab. Then we have our third tab. Okay, let's do that subpage. I know someone asked about the subpage. Let's do it. So let's make another report here. Let's take this report. I'm going to edit. Instead of going back to the catalog and editing this, I can already edit this from within the dashboard. And let's say edit dashboard. And then from the report here, we can click the properties and say edit analysis. And I will say save as, because I want to call it something else. And I'll call that active fines and fees of type credit by year in library. And now I'll filter this by fine fee type credit. Fine fee type will be credit. So I have a fourth report. Save results. Great. And now they're all type credit. Let's go to catalog. Now we have all four. Let's go back to the dashboard. Edit again. And under active fines and fees, I'm going to say add subpage. And I'm going to call this active fines and fees. Usually the names of these pages is not long, but I'm making them long now. So for our purposes, everything is clear of what we've added. If there's only 3 or 4 tabs, it doesn't matter if they're long, but when you start getting a lot of tabs, it's nice to keep them short. Okay, so now it's a little lower, as you can see. We'll see exactly how it works when we run the dashboard. But now I'm going to throw it in there. So let's go get our report. We're in Demo Alma University, dashboard session, reports. And now we'll put in the ones of the fines and fees of type credit. Okay. Save. Now I could go back to catalog and click open like we did last time. Or already from here, I can run the dashboard. I'm going to click run on top. Okay, so what do we have? If I go to number of loans, we've got one regular page. Then we've got overdue loans, a regular page. And here we did the subpage. So now when I click active fines and fees, I've got the active fines and fees, and then I've also got this one. That's the subpage. Instead of making a whole nother tab, it's like a subtab, or as the OBI calls it, a subpage. Okay, now, before we add the prompts, we want to make this accessible to people. And that's where the analytics object comes in. Now, we have a session on analytics objects, if I'm not mistaken. Prompts is next week, filters and functions. Yeah, we have one on March 28th, excuse me. But we're going to show now, but not super in depth of all the objects, but we will show creating the dashboard object and making it accessible. Because it's not just, I always like to say, because sometimes it does become this, creating analytics reports is not just an academic exercise or a technological challenge. We want to make this useful for our users. We want it to somehow improve the user experience. So we need to make this accessible to somebody. So that's where the analytics objects come in. Now, this one we would probably want to be accessible to people with fulfillment roles, not to someone. Electronic inventory operator, for example, is not going to be so interested in a dashboard like this. So we'll go to analytics and to the analytics objects list. And let's create now the dashboard. So we'll say actions, add new analytics object, and now we'll choose the folder and everything else. So I'll select the folder. It'll be easy because I'll just write 2023 and I get the one we made. It's going to be under the 2023-03-07 dashboards. It's this one here. By default, it's giving the same display name as the report name. While that's saving, let's just go make sure we got everything done here. So we went into the dashboard, we edited the dashboard. We saw that by default, it's called page 1. Then we started dragging the reports into the dashboard where it says drop content here. We drag them right in. Then on the top here, we clicked add dashboard page so we could add another page. We called it whatever we wanted to call it, dragged it in, added another page, dragged it in, and renamed that first page, which was by default called page 1. We clicked the rename icon there, called it something new, saved the dashboard, and then we have the dashboard. We also saw that we can run it by clicking open, and we saw the 3 tabs. Okay, so this one we covered. Now, okay, this is still saving. We know that this new interface takes a while to save. We're working on that. Before the official release, it will be faster. We'll just be patient. Let's just cover what we're going to see next. Next, we're going to do the dashboard prompt, because right now we have reports that include library and year, the loan year, or the fines and fees creation year. And we're going to want to make a prompt to limit that. So a user can say, for example, well, I only want loans from a certain library, or I only want loans from a certain year. I apologize on the time it's taking to save this, but we will be patient anyway. We'll already start opening the prompts one. And let me check the chat and see if anything else came in meanwhile. Chat. Okay. With the question about the dashboard page, question about the overdue days. Okay, I think we're all covered. Okay. Perhaps we'll start creating the prompt now. All right, so the prompt. The prompt we're going to save in, let's go back into analytics. We're going to save it in the prompts folder. Now, the prompt is connected to a field, which means it's connected to a subject area. Let's review what do we want in our prompt. Let's start with a prompt by loan year, and then we'll be able to use it in these 2 reports and by the library. So we'll say create dashboard prompt, fulfillment subject area, and I'm already going to save it. And let's call this, in the prompts, we'll call this fulfillment loan year. And I'm calling it fulfillment loan year because we're going to have a year also for the active fines and fees, and I want to make sure we're distinguishing. So now let's grab the field. So from here, where there's a plus, we'll say new column prompt, And we'll take that, what did we call this? Fulfillment loan year. So under loan date, we'll take the loan year. Okay. These options here, choice list, text field, check boxes, we have a separate session just on prompts. We'll go more in depth then. It's pretty obvious though, check boxes as opposed to a radio button. A radio button, you can only choose one. Text field, you can type it in. So I'm going to leave it as a choice list. I'm not even going to go into the options right now. Done. And this is how it's going to appear. So that's the first one. Let's make another one by the loan library. So again, we'll say create dashboard prompt. And that's going to be the fulfillment subject area again. And it's going to be a column prompt. And this will be item location at time of loan, library name. Same thing, we'll leave it a choice list. It's going to look like this. And we will call it fulfillment loan library. Now these we can't use with the reports that are about the fines and fees because they're using different fields. So let's get out of here now. And for the fines and fees, for example, I'm going to go back into reports. For the fines and fees by year and library, that one is using field creation year. It's the creation year in the fines and fees and the owning library name in the fines and fees. So again, we'll say create dashboard prompt, fines and fees. We'll add a new column prompt. And under creation date, we'll say creation year. Leave all the defaults again. And we'll save this also in the prompts folder, and we'll call this fines and fees creation year. Okay. Then we'll make one more on the library for the fines and fees. Create dashboard prompt, fines and fees, and again, add a column prompt. And this will be owning library name. And we'll call this fines and fees library. Okay. Let's take a look at this report again. So what's going to happen, for example, active fines and fees by library, by year in library, we'll be able to put in a filter by this and by this. Let's just come back here. Okay, our dashboard is created. So this is the dashboard, the object of the dashboard. And we need to say which users will be able to access this. So that's under add roles, and we'll say a user with, let's say, fulfillment services manager, fulfillment services operator, fulfillment administrator. Anyone with one of these roles will be able to access this dashboard. And that should cover it. Save. Okay. Now, to be able to access it, a user will come to analytics, and under shared with me is anything that has a role in it. We just added to this object the fulfillment services manager, fulfillment services operator, fulfillment administrator. If I, as a logged in user, have those roles, then it will appear here under shared with me. I'll take this and add it to my favorites. I clicked the 3 dots and I'm saying add to favorites. And that means that under analytics, it will appear in my favorites. So now we can always access it from here. So if I click that now, we'll get the report. Excuse me, the dashboard. So here's the first tab, here's the second tab. Now it's accessible to any user who has one of those 3 roles. All right. So now we created those 4 prompts. We want to put them in the dashboard. So let's first put them in the dashboard. Now, when we put them in the dashboard, I'm already stating they're not going to work right away because we still need to do something else. But first, let's get them in the dashboard. So we'll go to catalog. It's a 2-stage step here. It's have them added to the dashboard, and then we also have to edit the reports to state that those fields will be affected by the prompt. Okay, so here's the dashboard. We'll say edit. And we're just going to drag in the prompts typically to the top. So this is number of loans by year in library. So bottom left here, I'll make this a little larger again. We'll say under shared folders, we'll say demo Alma University. Here's the dashboards. Here's the prompts. So here I'm going to want to put in for the year and for the library. So fulfillment loan library. I drag that in. Now note, it's a column here and then a section. I'm going to drag this, the fulfillment loan year right next to it. I'll make the, okay. Sometimes you have to play around with the resolution depending on your screen and everything else. So now we have the report and then the fulfillment loan library on the left, fulfillment loan year on the right. I'll save this tab. Now I'll come to the overdue loans. Same thing here. I'll put the loan library up here, the loan year here. Save. Now the active fines and fees. Same thing here. I will drag first the fines and fees library here, fines and fees creation year here, save. Now I'm in the other subpage. I'm switching between the subpages. So same thing in the other subpage, in the active fines and fees subpage, I'll drag in the prompt for the fines and fees library and for the fines and fees creation year. It's a little tricky sometimes. I'm going to reduce my resolution. Let's make my resolution larger. We'll see how it appears in a moment. Okay. I could also, by the way, play around even more by creating my own sections and my own columns. Here, I'll make that larger so people can see. I could take this and add my own column somewhere and then fill in that column, but I don't want to do another column right now. Okay, so we're covered. Save. Now, let's run it, but I'm already telling you, it's not the prompts will be there, but they're not going to do anything right now because we need to go into the reports and edit the reports. So let's go open it up. Now, because my role has designs analytics also, I can from here edit the dashboard. But if I didn't have the designs analytics role, I wouldn't be able to do that. I also wouldn't see the create here. Okay, so now I have the library name and the loan year. But if I choose, you can see in 2011, we got the main library and the science library. In 2022, we have 2012, we have 4 libraries. If I choose one of these, it doesn't do anything. And we're going to see why. And then we'll make it do something. Same thing with the 2 tabs here in the overdue, 2 prompts for the overdue loans. And fines and fees, we also have the 2 prompts. Okay. Now, here also it's not going to do anything. Let me do a creation year of 2020 or 2021. Nothing. Oh, this one did work. Let me think about that. Creation year 2021. I'm going to say law library. I might have already put that in the report. Well, library is not doing anything. Great. Okay, here we go. Catalog. Let's see now, how are we going to make those prompts affect the results in the dashboard reports? Okay, so let's start with number of loans by year in library. We need to say that the field is prompted. So we'll say here, loan year filter is prompted. It's all the way on the bottom. Again, loan year filter, and for the operator to go all the way to the bottom is prompted. That means it'll take values from the prompt. We'll do that also on the library name. Filter is prompted. That covers loans by year in library. We'll save that. Okay, that's saved. And somebody asked if that prompt is prompted is relevant only for dashboards. Whenever we say only or always, it's a little dangerous, but I want to say yes. And let's say the is prompted is typically used for dashboards and not for a regular report that has a prompt. You don't need to use is prompted when you're just having one report that has a prompt. And our session next week, I believe, is about the prompts. Next week is session 5. Yes. So next week, we're going to be talking exclusively about the prompts. And perhaps even today, we'll give an example of that. Okay. Overdue loans. We'll get it. Well, now we'll do the same for the overdue loans by year in library. So I'll click edit on that. Just going to occasionally do a search here. All right. Let's see here that we're covering everything meanwhile. So we're creating reports. Excuse me, we're creating the prompts for a dashboard now, not per report. That's next week. And we said create dashboard prompt, just like this. We chose a subject area. Then we chose a field. We left the defaults. We didn't go in this in depth. And we saw how it looks. And then we saved it under the prompts folder. Okay. Then we added it to the dashboard. That's what we're doing right now, simply by dragging it in. All right, let's go back. Which is a little slow now, so we'll look here. Okay, we're going to run it in a moment. Oh, here it's also slow. I'm going to go in a different place if you don't mind. Sorry about that. All right, we'll keep looking at the PowerPoint while we're waiting for that. Okay, what's going to happen is we're going to choose something from one of the prompts, and it'll change the results. It can be on a field that appears or in a field that doesn't appear. For example, here, we're doing it on user group. Even though user group is not appearing in the report, we can still prompt on it, and it'll change the results. Here we have different amounts for administrative staff, or for all three. Let's go see what's going on here. Okay. All right, we'll go to our report. We're now in the process of, adding the is prompted to the reports, so that when we run the dashboard and we choose the prompts like we did last time, it will affect the results. Someone asks, is it possible to make today's sessions and reports dashboard available under shared folder for everyone to see? I can drag that at the end of the session into the community folder, and you'll be able to see it there. Okay, catalog. Okay, so overdue loans, criteria. Okay, so I want to say loan year filter is prompted. And then we'll say library name active filter is prompted. I'm going a little quicker now. We'll do the same for the fines and fees. Okay, now Alma's working fast. Okay, great. For the same for the fines and fees reports, we'll say here as well, criteria tab, creation year filter is prompted, library filter is prompted, save, and then one more report. Save, one more report. Okay, she's fast now. And here as well, criteria tab, creation year filter is prompted. Fine fee type, nope, loaning library name filter is prompted. Okay, so now when we run this report from the dashboard, it will be affected by the prompts. Let's see. Analytics, here we go, the dashboard. And now let's say I want only the main library. Library name, main library, apply. Now I have only the main library. Let's say I want only 2023. Apply. You see, now I have all of these years. Apply. Now I have only 2023. Now, the advantage of these prompts, I'm going to switch to the overdue loans. It kept the same prompts. So if there's one person who deals with the main library and he or she chooses the main library, he or she will have it throughout the whole dashboard. If somebody chooses the science library, he or she will also have it throughout the dashboard. Those prompts are not going to appear the same when I go to the active fines and fees, because if you recall, we took those from a different subject area. It's a different prompt. These two prompts, if I switch to number of loans, are the same prompts as these two. In the active fines and fees, it's a different prompt. Let's make sure these work as well. Here I'll say main library again. Apply. And now it's given me only main library. I'll say I want creation year here as well, 2023. Apply. Spinning around. There we go. Now we have only 2023. If we switch to the other sub-tab, that could be because there are none for the main library 2023. But I want to show how to change that, by the way. I'm going to say here, give me more years. And here I'll say, give me all. Apply. Let's see why this is giving us nothing. It says no results. Okay. Oh, apply on that and apply on. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to show, you noticed when I said here, give me only 2023, it gives this message here, which isn't so nice. We can change this so that it'll give a more useful message. Let's do that. I'm going to go into that report. Now, the easiest way to go into the report is right here from the edit dashboard. It's this one here, active fines and fees of type credit. So here I'll say edit analysis. And in the criteria tab, we have the properties here. And under the no results, instead of the default message, custom message. By the way, there's also a file on this here and the same page. How to change the no results message to a specific message in an analytics report. I'll send out the link to that as well. It's all on the same page. But that's what I'm doing right now. I'll send that out in the chat in case anybody wants to do this on their own. Okay. So custom message, whatever is in the header is red bold. I'll say there are no results. Okay, then we'll say there are no results according to the values chosen in the prompts. Please choose other values. Okay. Suffices for our purposes. Okay, save. Now, because I came in to this report from the dashboard, I can go right back. It says return to the fulfillment fines and fees dashboard. Now I'm back in. If I were to choose 2023 again here, apply. Now I get a useful message. There are no results according to the values chosen in the prompt. Please choose other values. Okay. We've covered the very, I don't want to say the very basics, but we've covered the full range of creating the dashboard and creating the prompts. I saw some questions came in, and I think they actually relate to what I was planning on saying anyway, but let me go read. How would you make the creation year, for example, in a report, default to the previous year using SQL? Okay, great question. So let's say we want the year for the number of loans to be last year. All right, let's do that. I believe, okay, no, it wasn't on the scheduled list, but let's do it anyway. Now that also, believe it or not, there's a file on. And here, if we come to advanced material prompts, we got how to make the report prompt date be specific using SQL, etc. So let's see if this document is any good. And let's follow it, or at least partially follow it. But let's go play around with the prompt. So I'll just leave it here, and if we need it, we'll come back. Let's go to the prompt first of all. Catalog, prompts. So we'll take the fulfillment loan year and we'll make it default to the previous year. But you've got that document there. But I'm going to make a copy of it just so in case I ruin it. So I'll say copy. Now I can't paste unless I switch to another folder and then back. So now I'll have paste. Okay, and I'll call this rename fulfillment loan year with no defaults. Just in case I ruin the other one. Okay, so here's the fulfillment loan year. Let's edit. Now to edit this specific field, we can double click it or we can click it once and then click this pencil, the edit. Okay, so we're going to go into the options. Now for the default selection, right now it's none. We're going to do SQL results. However, we could say specific values and just choose here a specific field and hard code it. That would be one option. But we don't want it hard coded. We want it always to go 1 year back. So instead of specific values, we'll choose SQL results. Now I'll put in the SQL result that I want here. Let's come here for a moment. Okay, so we want, let's say, now all of the syntax of these with the timestamp add is also here on the same page. These two files give a lot of details. Oh, we also have analytics SQL filter examples. So you've got a lot of the timestamp adds here. Okay, let's start filling it in. Now, sometimes it doesn't work on the first shot. You just got to play around now. But we want this to be the year of timestamp add, open parentheses, SQL TSI year -1 from the current date, close the first parentheses, close the second parentheses. By the way, I'm also going to check this include all columns, but that's not related to the year here. That's another thing. Okay, so that should do it, but let's see. Okay. And let me save and see what happens. I don't see it here, which is a little discomforting, but let's see. No. Okay, so we did library name active. Hold on. Oh, we got loan year, not library name. Loan year. Also no. But let's see if it's checked. Hold on, I'm going to get rid of that all column values. Let's go back in. Okay. Let's do this. There's a way to see if this is correct. We will come into the report. And the report. And we'll just display that text. So I'll drag in any field. We dragged in number of loans again, okay? And here, we'll edit the formula and put in that text that we just did. Here, we'll say edit formula. And we'll just see if that's going to display 2022. Yes, it does. Okay, so we're good. I'm not going to save this report. Let's go back to the prompt. And fulfillment loan year prompt edit. Loan year. Okay, let's follow the directions. So navigate to the prompts, double click it, and the options, select the triangle, and then set default selection SQL results. Okay, let's do that. Step by step. Options, default selection, SQL results. Oh, I think I have to say from select and from fulfillment. That's the problem. Fulfillment is the subject area. Yes. Select everything from fulfillment. Okay. Great. So the document is good. Now let's say okay. There we go. Now it's giving us 2022 here as the default. Save catalog. I should have followed the directions from the first one. Let's do that now also for the fines and fees creation year. So edit, creation year, I'll double click. This is subject area is called fines and fees. So we'll say options. For default selection, I'll choose SQL results. We'll say select, again, timestamp year, excuse me. Select year, timestamp add, SQL TSI year, -1 from the current year, close both parentheses, from fines and fees. Let's see if that's going to work. No, let's see what we did wrong. I want to get the official name. I'll save that even though it doesn't work yet. I want to get the official name of the subject area. So I'm going to open up a report here. It's called fines and fees. If I go to the advanced, by the way, I can copy and paste all of the stuff. So this is fines and fees. I want to make sure I'm getting it exactly right. Let's stick that in a notepad. Looks like I was already playing with a notepad with this kind of stuff, but let's make a new one. So that's the name of the subject area. and catalog. Let's go back to the prompts. Let's go to the fulfillment loan year where we already got it working. We'll copy this. Okay, and now we'll go to our new one, which is fines. That's the prompt called fines and fees creation year. Edit. Okay, let's see what we did wrong. I'll select this and let's compare. From fines and fees. Okay, everything looks correct. And I'll make this none. Current date, not current year. Ah, thanks everybody. Ah, yeah, you guys are good. Thanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, date. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay, a real team effort. Now let's go give it a try. We'll run that from here. I'm going to close all my tabs. Here we go. Okay, so now we got loan year 2022 here as the default. It's already filtering by it. Overdue loans, same thing. It's already filtering by it. Active fines and fees, already filtering by it. Going to, here it is, going to the other subpage. Nice, already filtering by it. Okay, let's see. I think there were more questions that came in. Let me go take a look. Chat. Okay. Okay, that was someone said creation year. Thank you. Thank you. 4 people pointed that out. Thanks. Everybody's paying attention. Okay, this is the question. How would you make the creation year be the previous year? Okay, we showed that. Is it possible to copy the entire dashboard, including reports and prompts from Alma folder to local folder? Okay. That is the next thing I wanted to show. The question is it possible to copy the entire dashboard and including reports and prompts from Alma folder to local folder? That's what I wanted to show under how to edit and change a default Alma Analytics reports dashboard. That means we're going to copy it from, these are the 6 steps. We're going to copy it from the Alma folder to another folder, but then we need to relink it, I'm going to call it. I'm going to do it fairly quickly because we don't have much time, but we will show it. So let's say I want to take a default dashboard. That means when I say default, I want to take something from the Alma folder and put it under my own folder. So under dashboard session here, I'm going to make another subfolder called changed default dashboard. Okay, and let's say I want to go to Alma, and let's say I want this API usage dashboard. It's pretty basic. I don't run a lot of APIs here, but enough that I have the dashboard. So we'll come into analytics. We'll go to catalog, and I'll copy the whole folder. So we got more, copy. Now we'll go to our folder. I'll put it under here and under here, and I'll paste it. Now, it's not enough just to do that, because it's pasting as we speak. There it is. That's not enough, and it's all in the PowerPoint in those 6 steps. I also need now to change that it's using these reports, which are under my institution. Because right now, if I come to the dashboard and I edit the dashboard, the prompt and the report are still coming from the Alma folder. They're coming from here. And I want them to come from the ones I just made. So this is called API usage by area, for example. And I'll take that and instead copy it from where we just put it. I'm under my own institution, under report. So this API usage by area, I'm going to remove this one, delete, and copy this one in. Same thing with the prompt. I could still run it this way, but it's using, the dashboard is in my institution, but it's using reports and prompts from under the Alma folder. I'll get rid of this execution date prompt, and I'll also copy that from here. Save. Let's do it on the next one as well. By area, last 365 days. So here we've got API usage by area, last 365 days. I'm going to delete it here, click the X. And I'll copy this one in. And we're going to do something in a moment to make sure it's using my real ones. Let's save that. Let's do the by key. And I will remove this one, API usage by key. And this execution date prompt, I'm also going to take my own. Okay, so the first 3 tabs, I'm using the reports and prompts from my institution. Otherwise, they're coming from the Alma folder, from the API usage folder, and from here, because all I did was copy the dashboard. I didn't change the links. So now I'm going to save this. Let's do a little change here just to show something. Let's say I'm under my institution, and I'm going to change the prompt here. Execution date prompt. And this is the execution date prompt now. It's going from February 20th to yesterday. That means it's getting the last 3 weeks, I believe. Let's change that. I'm going to double click it. Under options, we got SQL results. Great. So this is a default that you can use to play around. So it says, select the dates where, okay, so it's between 15 days ago and 1 day ago. I'm going to change it to 365 days ago. Okay. So now it's going 365 days ago to yesterday. And I'm also going to change the label. I'll say custom label, and I'll even say here, defaults to last 365 days. Okay. Now save. Now let's see what's going to happen. If I run this from under my institution, expand, 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 open. Okay, so this first tab has my new default. The second tab didn't have the prompt anyway. The third tab has my default. The fourth tab doesn't have my, it does, guys. I copied it in there too. So I've copied them. I brought it in, and then I had to change it around a bit. That's how we can take from the Alma folder and then bring it into my folder. But you should link them to your own, because you edit the dashboard and link the reports and prompts to the one in your institution. Otherwise, when you go and change them, you didn't benefit anything because you still have the ones from the Alma folder. Okay, what we talked about before, I'm going to drag this in here into the community folder so everyone will have it. Somebody asked, can I put it in the community folder? So I don't think we need this change default dashboard. That's just all I did was drag in from the Alma folder. I'm going to get rid of this one. But everything else we made today, the dashboards, prompts, and reports, let's see where we're going to drag them now. So first I'm going to copy this whole folder, the dashboard session 2023-0307, more, copy. We'll put it in the community folder, and let's put it under shared reports, and no, let's put it, I want to make sure it'll be easy to find. And right here, we'll make a folder. And I'll call this session 4 dashboards. And I'll paste it right in here. And I'll send out this folder location. This is, someone asked, can I make this accessible to everybody? I'll send out this location now to everybody. Now, I just did this on the EU environment. If you're not in the EU environment, you won't see this until Saturday or Friday afternoon, because every Friday, all of the data centers synchronize between all of the data centers. So if you're in EU, you will see this. Otherwise, you'll need to wait till Friday or Saturday. All right, so let me send this out into the chat. That brings us exactly to the end time. Chat, sending it out. Okay. Is there anything else from anybody? Any final questions before we finish, even though it already is end time? I don't see anything in. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I think that was a nice session. We managed to cover quite a bit in an hour and a half. Let me send that to everybody. There we go. All right. So everybody's got that. Okay, I will stop the recording. Stop